Never eat blueberries with these 5 foods. They might seem healthy, but when combined, they can quietly interfere with your medications, block nutrient absorption, even spike or crash your blood sugar. Without warning, especially if you're over 60, your body processes food differently than it did in your 40s. And that superfood breakfast you've been eating, it could be working against you, not for you. The real risk starts after this moment, because what I'll show you next could change how you look at blueberries forever. Blueberries are praised as a miracle food, and for good reason. They're full of antioxidants, fiber, and vitamins. But here's what most seniors don't hear. After 60, your digestive system slows, your liver enzymes change, and your body becomes more sensitive to certain nutrients, especially when they mix. That's why today, I want to walk you through 5 specific foods and supplements you should never combine with blueberries, and what to do instead. This is not about fear, it's about clarity. As always, consult your doctor before making any dietary changes. But if you've been eating blueberries daily, this could be the missing piece to a few puzzling symptoms. 1. The medication mix-up, cytochrome, P450 enzyme block. Let me tell you something that surprises most seniors I work with. Blueberries don't just nourish your body, they also interact with it, especially your liver, the very place your medications are processed. See, your liver runs on a system called cytochrome P450. Think of it like a long conveyor belt that breaks down drugs and toxins. But here's the catch. After 60, that conveyor belt slows down by as much as 30 to 40%. And blueberries, they contain powerful polyphenols that can slow or speed up this system even more. Now imagine this. You take your morning blood pressure pill, then drink a blueberry smoothie 20 minutes later. The conveyor belt is already sluggish. But now, the blueberries jam it. That pill stays in your bloodstream too long, and suddenly your blood pressure drops too fast, or not enough. Either way, your body can't predict the effect. In fact, a 2012 study published in MC3627221 showed blueberry juice increased drug absorption by 39% for medications like flurbiprofen. That means almost 40% more drug in your bloodstream with the same dose. And most people have no idea it's happening. Frank, one of my longtime patients, ran into this exact issue. He'd switched to smoothies every morning, thinking he was doing something great. But over the next few weeks, his ankles swelled, his heart rate changed, and his blood pressure readings were all over the place. When we traced it back, the only change? Blueberries. But what most people miss is what comes next. Because it's not just about skipping blueberries. It's about timing them around your medications. Here's what I tell my patients. Behavior protocol. Keep a 2-hour buffer between blueberries and any major medication, especially blood thinners, statins, or heart meds. If you take your pills at 8 a.m., save the blueberries for a late breakfast or early lunch. And always report any dizziness or changes to your healthcare provider, because sometimes even the healthiest food needs a little space to do the right thing. 2. The clotting risk, vitamin K, overlap. If you're on blood thinners like warfarin, this next part is especially important. Blueberries might seem harmless, but they quietly carry something powerful. Vitamin K, about 28 micrograms per cup. Now, vitamin K plays a critical role in your blood's ability to clot. Think of it like a key. It turns on your body's clotting response when you get a cut or injury. But when you're taking medications that thin your blood, like warfarin, you're already managing that clotting key carefully. And adding more keys to the lock, that's where things go sideways. Because what your doctor has carefully balanced can be thrown off by a simple bowl of fruit. The NHS UK warfarin guidelines specifically list blueberries as a food to monitor. Why? because even small fluctuations in vitamin K can lead to dangerous bleeding or clotting issues in aging adults. Helen, 68, was the picture of health on paper. She took her medication daily, walked every morning, and ate what she thought was a heart-healthy breakfast: oatmeal with blueberries and kale. But within a month, she started bruising easily. Then came a nosebleed that wouldn't stop. Her doctor checked her INR levels, and they were way out of range. Nobody suspected the blueberries. Even with everything right, this one misstep can set you back. That's why I always share this with patients. Behavior protocol. Limit your blueberry intake to 1/2 cup daily. No more. Keep your portions consistent from day to day. Don't vary suddenly. Separate blueberries from your warfarin dose by at least 2 hours. Get your INR levels checked more frequently when changing your diet. Because this isn't about avoiding blueberries, it's about respecting how powerful they really are. 3. The iron trap, absorption shutdown. Here's something few seniors ever suspect. Even if you eat iron-rich foods, you might not be absorbing them, especially if you're eating blueberries at the same time. Let me explain. Blueberries contain natural compounds called tannins. These act like tiny magnets inside your gut. And what do they attract? Iron, specifically non-heme iron, the kind found in plant-based foods and supplements. Now, here's the problem. After 60, your stomach naturally produces less acid. That makes it already harder to absorb iron efficiently. But when you add blueberries to the mix, those tannins bind to iron molecules before your body can absorb them. A 2015 study presented by the Micronutrient Forum found that blueberries reduced iron absorption by 68% when eaten with iron-rich meals. That's nearly 2/3 of the iron gone. And it happens silently. Maria, 66, came to me exhausted. She'd been eating what she thought was a clean, nourishing breakfast: oatmeal with blueberries, chia seeds, and almonds. She even took her iron supplement right afterward, but her labs told another story. Her ferritin levels had dropped again. It wasn't what she was missing. It was what she was mixing. One tiny shift here changes everything downstream. Here's what I suggested. Behavior protocol. If you take iron supplements, separate them from blueberries by at least 2 to 3 hours. Avoid pairing blueberries with iron-fortified cereals or plant-based iron sources like spinach. Instead, pair iron with vitamin C-rich foods like oranges or bell peppers to boost absorption. Take iron on an empty stomach, if possible, unless it causes discomfort. This small tweak can make the difference between low energy and a day that feels like yours again. If this surprised you, type "blueberry trap" in the comments. I read every one, and your story may help someone else feel stronger. 4. The sugar crash, insulin double dip. Blueberries have a quiet superpower, one that's beautiful, but risky if misunderstood. They can mimic insulin, specifically the deep blue pigments in blueberries, called anthocyanins, have been shown to activate cellular pathways that lower blood sugar. Sounds like a win, right? It is, unless you're already taking diabetes medication. Because what happens when both your meds and your food tell your body to drop blood sugar? You double the volume on your metabolic speaker, and sometimes the message gets too loud. In 2020, a study published in PMC51875424 showed that older adults who consume blueberries daily saw a 22% improvement in insulin sensitivity. That's a major benefit, but in combination with drugs like metformin or glipizide, it can tip into hypoglycemia, and that's exactly what happened to Roger. Roger, 72, had recently added blueberries to his breakfast. Just a handful, nothing extreme. But within days he started feeling dizzy mid-morning. He'd sit down to read and feel like the room was spinning. At first he thought it was dehydration. But when we tracked his post-meal glucose, the answer became clear. The blueberries were amplifying his medication. This is the part where resistance melts and rhythm returns. Because once Roger adjusted his timing and dosage, his mornings felt steady again. Predictable, clear. Behavior, protocol. Start small. 1/4 cup of blueberries with a meal. Track your blood glucose 2 hours after eating, especially in the first 7 days. If you notice drops below 80 milligrams per deciliter or symptoms like shakiness, speak with your doctor about adjusting your meds. Never eat blueberries on an empty stomach if taking glucose-lowering drugs. This isn't about cutting fruit. It's about knowing how food becomes part of your protocol. Because when food and medicine speak the same language, you want them whispering, not shouting. 5. Calcium interference, bone loss, blind spot. This next one surprises most people because it has nothing to do with medications and everything to do with minerals. Blueberries, as rich and healing as they are, contain plant compounds that can hinder calcium absorption in your gut. And as we age, that's a risk we can't afford to ignore. See, after 60, the lining of your gut becomes less efficient at pulling in nutrients. Even when you take calcium pills or drink milk, your gut has to grip the calcium and shuttle it into your bloodstream. But polyphenols, the very compounds that give blueberries their antioxidant punch, make that surface slippery. Think of your gut like a sponge. When it's healthy, it soaks up nutrients easily. But if you coat that sponge in oil, even the best nutrients slide right off. A ketoezer links osteoporosis. International meta-analysis found that high polyphenol diets, including frequent berry intake, were associated with reduced calcium absorption in older adults. And the impact isn't immediate, it creeps in slowly. Janet, 74, was meticulous about her health. Calcium supplements every morning, daily walks, yogurt in the afternoon. But when her DEXA scan came back showing new bone loss, she was stunned. The only thing she'd added to her diet, blueberries in the morning, and again in her evening smoothie. Without this, all the good work may never reach your joints. Behavior. Protocol. Avoid eating blueberries within 2 hours of calcium supplements or dairy-based meals. If you take calcium at breakfast, push your blueberries to lunch or mid-afternoon. Consider rotating with other low polyphenol fruits, like pears or apples, on supplement days. You don't have to stop enjoying blueberries, you just have to make space for them, so the rest of your nutrition plan can do its job. When you cross 60, nutrition becomes less about calories and more about clarity. Because even the healthiest foods like blueberries can have a second side, not harmful by nature, but powerful enough to deserve precision. Today you've learned that how and when you eat certain foods matters just as much as what you eat. And when you understand that, your food becomes your medicine, not your mystery. I'd love to know, which timing tip or hidden interaction surprised you most today? Drop it in the comments, because your insight could help someone else find answers they have been searching for. And if you're someone who cares deeply about aging wisely, feeling steady in your body, and protecting your independence for years to come, you're in the right place. We're here to explore healing that's grounded in science and delivered with respect. So, if that sounds like the kind of support you want in your life, hit that subscribe button and join a circle of people who are walking this journey together. You deserve clarity. You deserve community. And you deserve to feel in charge of your next chapter.